All right. I think that we're live. If you'll mute yourself so that I can hear the echo. All right. We're good to go. All right, guys. So we're here live, Mad Makers Show, episode number 7. And I had to cut my echo off too because I had the show on the other side. So, guys, welcome to the show. My name is Eloy, and let me give you a little rundown of what we do. The idea of the show, all of you guys know, but for those of you that don't know, it's called the Mad Maker Show, and what we're interested in doing is interviewing people that are creative, be it in all the mediums that you could imagine, woodworking, metalworking, crafts, you name it, art, music, whatever the case. But we kind of want to go a little bit deeper into the background as well within it, and chat with the maker we're interviewing live, you guys in the chat, as well as us here, co-host and myself, and just get to know them a little bit better. So I think you're going to enjoy meeting Ryan and Amy, which I'm not going to mention yet, and I just did. I'm going to turn this over to JP Woodwork, Jamie Page.
How you doing, everybody? You can find all my stuff at either jp-woodwork.com, or makersinternationalpodcast.com, and everything is sponsored by highnoilmedia.com, which is thanks to Steve Nealon.
All right, so yeah, let me mention that as well before we go to our guest, Steve Nealon from Harneal Media. That's where we have our websites. I'm doing a lot of stuff right now. The idea that I'm working on is a few of them, actually. I'm writing articles on my website, Rockin' Woodworks, which is rock, the letter N, woodworks.com. And if you want to help out the show and what we do and stuff, and we want to keep doing it and growing, and it's really for all of us to unite and grow and learn about each other and try to succeed, in the things that we endeavor. Visit it, and just take a look at the stuff. We sell T-shirts there, and I write articles. In fact, like shows like this one, once we finish interviewing Ryan and Amy, a week from now, I'll have a post on the site with a Q&A type post where we just, go over what we've done here in a shorter, abbreviated form, with pictures of the items that they've built and just little tidbits for the eyes and for the mind. And we link back to their sites, our sites, JP. And so it's just a whole cycle. If you have any questions throughout the show, feel free to ask. We're here to learn about the makers that we interview. So you're completely welcome to it. JP will take the questions, and Harneal Media, again, he created my site as well as JP's, like he had just mentioned, and a whole host of other makers. So if you're looking for a website, and we keep pushing this because, number one, for me, and it was the same for these cats, very easy to get to where I wanted, right, the way I wanted the site. So we'll leave a link. There's actually a link in the description, but there's Chad from Man Crafting. He's part of the Harneal. Patrick's workshop. We have Javier Unzueta as well. Javi's woodshop. Who else do we have, JP?
Don't know.
Bunch of cats. So
yeah, there's lots. There's some, they're all a bunch of good people as well.
Yeah. So anyways, with that said, Ryan, Amy, welcome to the show. It's good to see you guys after a long while, although we've talked every now and then behind the scenes. What's up, guys?
Not much. Glad to be here. I know. It's weird being on the other end of this, for sure.
It's true, because you guys were doing interviews way back when, and you interviewed a whole host of people. Yeah.
Like I think like 20 people,
including myself.
Yeah, you, Eloy, just about everybody that we talked to on here on a weekly basis. But
yeah. It's you guys. It's. I'll just say that's true. I just remembered you interviewed JP. Incredible. Was that your first interview, JP?
I think it was. Yeah. So yeah, I've actually done a couple of things for Ryan. I've done one where I think it was called, was it Comedy in Videos or something like that?
Oh,
that was with Alan and Pat.
Ask a Maker, that we tried that short little experiment where it was just getting input from the community, but we made it like a funny take on it.
Yeah. That was one of the highlights of my YouTube career.
Well, so there's a lot to get to, but just as a preface, you guys have done a lot of different things, and I've always mentioned this to you and to people actually when it comes up, how you do a lot of work in a lot of fields within the making world, and it's almost like, how do you get to do so many different things? I mean, it just all comes out, and there's this, there's that. We'll get into that. We're just chit-chatting in the beginning, but I do want to say that you did reach out to me the first time I knew about you, because you reached out. Dan the Maker Man, you had interviewed, and that's a tough interview to get as well. Yeah.
It's tough to get Dan on camera for anything, but I don't know why he said yes to it. I can't remember. Gosh, was he the first one? Was he the first interview we did?
Dude, if he was the first one, no.
Matt Haas was the first one, and Matt turned into Dan, I think, and then Dan turned into you, and then it snowballed from there. I think that's the order it went in. I know we did Zach Manring from Southern Ginger somewhere early on in there. Maybe it was Matt, Zach, and then Dan. But yeah, Dan was a hard one to snag. Did Eloy drop out again?
I guess he may well have done. Okay.
It's the Jamie show.
Don't worry. I'll make sure it doesn't go over an hour. It's you've certainly done some hell of good shows. I mean, going back to Dan again, I can remember him turning around and saying to me, like, you'll never get me on camera and things like that, because obviously I'm kind of renowned for my photoshops, and he actually brought out a video how to pronounce Eloy's last name, and as soon as he brought out that video, I screenshot a segment from that video and got him straight from there, and then edited a video from that. So yeah, it was quite funny. We've got two floating Eloy heads now.
But you know what?
Welcome back, Eloy.
Oh, dude, I don't know what to tell you. Where did we leave off? How long was that? I feel like
only a couple of minutes.
Was it a couple of minutes?
Yeah,
it was at least a half hour.
Yeah,
I feel like I was sucked into a time warp.
We're just about to go off air.
Well, I'll resume when you guys finish whatever you were talking about.
We've literally just finished it as you came back in.
Okay, so the internet gremlins freaking booted my butt right off, dude. Second time in 2 episodes. I was mentioning that Dan the Maker Man had shouted me out as one of, because you, at the end of your videos, of your interviews, you would always tell people that, so is there anyone you'd like to shout out? And Dan mentioned me, and that was such an honor, and that's how you contacted me for the interview.
Right. That's exactly right.
And everything happened from there, because really we've done a lot of projects internet-wise, a lot since then,
Yeah, it's crazy how it all started with just with those things. I mean, like I said, it started with Matt, but it's amazing how that stuff like kind of snowballs, and then we ended up working with other people, but yeah, I've formed plenty of awesome friendships through it, and I know you guys talk to Amy and stuff too, off on other
Yes.
chats and stuff like that. So it's
Yeah.
it's pretty cool.
All right, so I personally, just so that you guys know, and I guess you guys know how I am because we've had a lot of interactions. So I kind of like the Quentin Tarantino back and forth through timelines. It doesn't all have to. Nothing has to. We would want things to make sense, but nothing really has to make sense to tell you the truth, at least in my mind. But we will start properly for a moment here so that people know what the heck's going on, because we're kind of talking like, they just joined in and who knows, right? We'll start.
But that's what people expect from you. No one ever knows which way things are gonna.
Yeah, maybe not as hey, maybe not as crazy as, say, let me see off the top of my head, a Pat Lap. Huh? Anyways,
I'm saying nothing.
For you pet lovers out there, so now check this out. We're gonna go a little bit back, so we'll start the proper interview. I'm having too much fun just dancing around. Let me ask you guys a question. Where did the Waylight creation concept begin, and just a little bit of what you guys remember and share with us, please.
Yeah. The Waylight Creations brand, if that's what you want to call it, actually started out as a craft business that me and Amy were trying to start, and we called it Amy's Irresistibles. And then we had a few people comment, some friends of ours, that kind of sounded like a sex toy shop name, so we decided to change the name of it. So we changed it to Waylight Creations, and we did it for a little while, like making crafts and stuff and selling them. And Amy would make like
hair bows.
Yeah, hair bows and just different girly crap that I don't have anything to do with. But I was helping her like ship it and do all this stuff. And then one day I had talked to her about turning it into a YouTube channel. I said, why don't we just like record everything that we're making? Because I already knew how to woodwork and knew how to do all that stuff. And I was like, why don't I just do that stuff, you do your stuff, and we'll just throw it in one channel. And that's kind of where it came. It came from a failed business, really, of us trying to run a craft business. We just turned it into a content creation business instead, I guess.
And so, Amy, can you tell us a little? I didn't know none of this, actually. I know that you did tell me something similar, but it's been a while and stuff, but I didn't know that detail, so that's freaking awesome. But Amy, tell me a little bit about that as far as what you were doing and stuff. Can you go into a little bit what you were thinking at the time, why you started that?
Well, like the bows and stuff, that's
yeah.
I don't know, just to make a little extra money, and all these little girls needed bows, and and people would ask me if I made stuff, and so I would make stuff and sell it to them, and they'd be like, oh, they know other people that wanted some stuff, and so I just made all that girly stuff, and then I just kind of gave up on the girly stuff.
And when Ryan said, hey, why don't we actually, I'm not too when Ryan said let's try to do it, website style, or was it website or YouTube? How was that?
YouTube first.
Yeah.
And were you good with it? You said, okay, yeah. I mean, how is it that you guys work? Is it like, yeah, you know what? That's a badass idea. Let's go for broke. Or is it more like, I don't know, like what's the thought process that you guys go through?
Oh no, we jumped on it. Okay. We jump on stuff quick.
Right. And much to our own harm sometimes. I know who I think it was Brian Bales had said to us once that something about us jumping into stuff too quick, and it was an honest criticism, and it's a good criticism, because we're very, very guilty of that.
Mm-hmm.
If we have an idea, instead of letting it fester and boil for a while, we just jump into it. And,
I like that.
And that you guys see that, those of you that watch our channel see that we'll start a thing like Ask a Maker or the interviews. and we'll do it for a stretch, like to experiment and see how it works out. And then if it's not something we're digging, or if it's not benefiting our channel, we cut ties with it. Like now.
Well, a lot, so you have a large following. I don't know what the subscriber count is at this time, or anything you can tell us or not. I don't know, but I think that you do so many different things that it's just awesome. From the website is pristine, right? And I'm kind of going out of order right now at this point, but I don't care. So the website is pristine. It's got, I've always liked like what you do. I not that I relate to it, but not that I can really even copy it, because you guys are really like into just layering and layer. Your website has layers upon layers of things happening in there. Freaking amazing, right? Music, you want free music samples and songs and for your YouTube videos, waylightcreations.com. You can go in there and he's got stuff for you. There's patterns, there's apparel, there's the articles, and then there's all these other things that are going on. It's just, how do you do that? How do you guys do that?
I don't know.
We're constantly busy.
Yeah.
Well, I know it's a broad question, but you have to understand. Here's the thing. This is okay. I'm going to sound insane, and I guess it's appropriate, but you have to understand that. So a lot of people, and the people out there in the chat, and they're doing a lot of stuff, but you guys have like layers tucked upon layers. The website, there's work here, there's work there. It's just like a tapestry of freaking creation. That's how I see it. I've always told you I was blown away how the heck you guys, do that. Can you give us any insight except we just do it?
I mean, a lot of it's just done in downtime, really.
Yeah.
Like the music is just something I do for myself. I mean, Amy really doesn't have anything to do with that. I just, like, after she's in bed, if I got some free time, I'll work on a song or whatever, and I have a bunch of them saved on the computer, and so those are just like, they're just there. That I don't really think about them much. And then the projects,
Just do them a little bit out of the week, or do them on the weekends, or do a couple during the weekend or something. That's how we get them out so quick.
Right. Before we continue, we just started here, but I want to add, just in case there's people asking questions and their questions get lost, if there is, I don't know what's going on in the chat.
Yeah, there's been a couple of questions. Be Happy Woodworking and Honeybees said, where are you located?
in Ohio. It's northwest Ohio. It's just a real small rinky-dink town. I think, gosh, population's like 17,000 or something. It's tiny. Like you could maybe hold your breath through it, but it's
Okay.
small rural Ohio town.
And Mark Lindsay, CNC, says, cool guitars in the background. Who is a player of the family?
That'd be me.
Yeah.
Mediocre at best. But yeah, those are mine.
That's it for the time being.
Right. So give us a little bit of, well, you know what? I want to ask this question. Is the screen stuck on me?
No, it's changing over on the chat.
Temple Boom, Temple Boy Turnings. Subscribe to his channel. The thing is, you all know him. Thank you so much for the donation, dude. Link somewhere in the chat, but you guys know him. For those of you that don't, you've been hiding below a rock somewhere. He's in Ireland, in the middle of nowhere, on a plateau. Is it a plateau? I don't know, but it's desolate. There's a little shack in the middle of nowhere. It's a little barn, and he walks up a bog.
It's called a bog.
He's in a bog, a bog. He's in a bog, and in that bog, he's got a lathe and his tools, and he just finished frickin' turning a banana on my show. Was it last week? It was last week.
Yeah, last week, yeah.
Oh, because we were interviewing him, and he decided to turn a banana.
Yeah, banana.
He turned a banana, and that banana was instigated by, it was Sterling Davis.
Yeah.
Sterling, yeah. Sterling.
Yeah.
It started out he wanted him to turn a pear, wasn't it?
Yeah, first it was a pair, and so he just went on with that, man. The show lasted. So this is like an hour show. It lasted for like.
And I think it was actually the first turned banana on YouTube, because we've actually searched and we couldn't actually find one.
Dude, let me tell you something right now. On my channel, there's the first ever turned banana. I can now croak.
And he's still here. I thought he cut out again then. Well, Bells is out in the chat room anyway, so hello, Bells.
Uh-oh.
Bales is another crazy, insane lunatic. I don't care how many times I say it, I'll keep saying it. Ask Bales.
I want Bales on it. I want Bales on it. Both of them.
Well, ask Bales. Well, we won't. Yeah, we'll ask him in public. Bales,
but you do have to have both of them on.
Oh yeah.
Bales, you're coming on the show one of these days. I've got a few people I gotta knock out, but I want to interview you, and I want to get to where the split in your psyche occurred. So let's go back to the interview here. So you guys live in Ohio. It's the name of the town is Delphi.
Why?
Delphus.
I said that wrong, didn't I?
Yeah.
It's like it gets called everything under the sun, like Delphos.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's Delphus. It's close to Lima. Some people might know Lima, Ohio, a little better. If any of you watched that one show on TV, what's it called? I don't know. Glee? I think the show is called Glee.
Mm.
Oh yeah, I watch that all the time.
Right. I can't even remember the name of the show.
Dude,
I guess the show, and it's named after the city Lima that's just east of us.
But a lot of people call it Lima too.
Yeah. I don't know. Anyway, enough of that. That was pretty boring.
Yeah.
No, see, but let me tell you. Well, you wouldn't, but are you guys, do you enjoy the town? How do you guys feel?
Yeah, I love the little town we live in.
Oh, yeah.
It's quiet. People don't get murdered every day. That's kind of nice.
Look, trust me. Miami, I'm sorry, I don't care. Miami is insane, dude.
All right. There's no Russian midgets in Delphus. So
But there are some here, I'll tell you that. So you guys have lived there the majority of your life, or this is home for you guys from the beginning?
I've lived here my entire life. Amy has just lived a few towns over. She's probably lived here most of her life now because we've been married for almost 12 years. So,
well, that's very awesome that you guys are both creative together and beautiful family. You have kids, yeah?
3 boys.
And
that's why I need to make bows, because I ain't got no girls.
Right. She's having withdrawals from not having a girl, so she has to make girly things.
Oh, step up, Ryan.
No. Shut your mouth.
Thanks, no more kids. Mm-mm.
We've got another question from Javi. So, by the way, happy birthday, Javi. If anyone didn't know, it's his birthday today. You're looking really well for 55. He said, Ryan, tell us a little about your work-related background. What do you like to do when you're not woodworking? I guess that means both of you as well, by the way.
Like what we do for a living?
I guess so, yeah.
Yeah. I work as a subcontractor for my dad's construction company. It's a small construction company, but just do general contracting stuff like actually it's just about anything and everything really, from plumbing to windows, flooring, reframing, anything that we do it. But what do you do?
I work in a factory. I make car parts and paint car parts.
Yes. And the one thing I like to say that makes it sound even more awesome than it probably really is she made doors for Mustangs.
Like Bumblebee.
Was Bumblebee a Mustang?
Yeah.
Or was he? I thought he was a Camaro.
Yeah, it was a Mustang, wasn't it? The original one was, wasn't it?
No, the original one was a Beetle, a Volkswagen.
What?
The original Bumblebee was a Volkswagen, dude, back in the 1980s.
Oh, yeah. A VW Beetle.
Oh.
Mm.
So you had me thinking, you had me going on Michael Bay there for a minute. I didn't know what you were talking about.
Yeah.
So, any other questions, JP, before we continue?
Let's quickly brush over. No, not at the moment.
Okay.
No, not at the moment.
All right. So, you guys have been involved in a lot of activity on the web, and I don't even know. There's so much. There's shows. There's comedy shows. There's podcasts. There's so much. I mean, heavy duty stuff that you guys and the link for you guys in the comments in the chat. Everything is there. You should really check out Waylight Creation. Just incredible, and also tutorials, right? From scroll sawing to drawing, how to like set up a what do you call that? Patterns.
Inkscape.
We did a few tutorials on Inkscape. It's a free program we use to make our patterns.
Yeah. So here's the question. It's kind of broad, but here's the question. So can you run us down whatever you remember, because there's a lot of the activities that you've been involved in, including shows, projects. Just give us a nice little overview, flyby overview of the things you've done. They're there for posterity on your site, but just all those things, and really in a short amount of time. Can you give us a little bit of that?
Like a rundown of stuff we've been involved in would be, as far as our channel would be the Makers Wanted, which it seems like a good as time as any to announce that that'll be coming back soon. So if anybody missed or has been missing that show, that'll be back really soon.
What's the idea behind that?
Comedy. The maker community poking fun at itself. I know we've had different makers talk to us about how there needs to be some funniness in the maker community because sometimes it gets a little too serious in there. So the show was well received the first time around. It just got to be a really hard to get it put together every week, but that's going to change, and everybody will know about that, in the next couple weeks.
Yeah, you had. I was involved in that last year. I had a little segment called "You Suck at Woodworking." Jamie, yeah, what was your bit?
British Word of the Week.
But it was, I love that the one so they're all little clips, and then Waylight Creations makes a show out of it, and in between Amy and Ryan do their skits. Yeah. Right, and in between you have like makers doing their thing, and you had Matt Haas from Awesome Wood Things in there. Andy Berkey did a skit where Andy Berkey, if you know Andy Berkey, he does these things. Give me a minute, and it's a really cool thing. He says, "Give me a minute," and in a minute's time, he'll give you a nice concept to wrap your head around. That's an affirmative thing, inspirational, or just a tip. And so in the show, he did "Give Me a Second," and he just popped, and it's just comedy. And Jamie Page went full blown British. You've got the Union Jack, or how do you? It's in time. What's that whole thing?
It's actually called the Union Flag now. It's only called the Union Jack when it's on the back of a boat.
Okay, yeah, because we don't know anything over here. We're all confused. But
I guess you could say it was the Hog's Wallets.
Holy smokes!
That was. Yeah.
Well, I would say the dog's bollocks, but
it's open to interpretation, Jamie.
Yeah.
So JP would come in, and he had like this crown. It's just hilarious, and just a lot of skits. And one person I do want to mention is I want to mention Rick Wilkie.
Yeah.
which we miss very much. He's still around. It's just not active.
Yeah, he's alive and breathing, as far as we know.
Yeah. I hope one day he sees this, and knows that people are thinking about him. Right?
Yeah, he'll still be a part of Makers Wanted in a sense, because I'm going to keep the intro, his voiceover for the intro.
Oh, that's very cool.
I don't think anybody could do it better than how he did it.
We have some new people coming in. I don't know if it's a secret or not, but there might be the possibility that Doc Jared Hildebrandt will be doing a skit as well.
It's a good possibility.
There's also a good possibility that JP will be returning to do a segment as well.
Yeah, I'll have to see if I can figure some stuff out.
Yeah.
There's a good possibility that man crafting might be involved as well.
I've heard that rumor.
And of course, I don't know, call me crazy, but we've got the woodworking junkie, and we also will have in that show Javier Unzueta, which is Javi's Woodshop too.
Yeah, and it's open to anyone that wants to be a part of it. It's not our show. It's the community's show. That's what it was from its inception, and that's what we hope to grow it into. So we're hoping we can rekindle it and get it back to where we wanted it. So
it will only succeed if Amy's part of it.
True, because no one makes an electric screwdriver like Amy.
No. Right, we've got another question from outside the chat. It's from the one and only Mr. Invincible, Dan the Maker Man.
Oh yeah.
He said, "What is the dream build?"
Wow, there's so many of them. I eventually would like to build a boat. Eventually, based off of what Ray Pena did.
That's what I was thinking just now.
I've mentioned it to him a few times that I'm going to go back and watch his videos. But that's probably one of the bigger projects that I've wanted to make. And then one more I have, and I've hinted at it a few times over the last couple of years. I don't know if you guys have ever seen those. Now you got to think of what yours is while I'm explaining mine.
I am. Mm-hmm.
The slight, like where you slice thin pieces of cardboard to like make sculptures.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen that?
Yeah.
Well, I did it once with wood. I've done it twice with wood. We made a dragon egg once that was made out of sliced MDF. And then what else did we make?
The skull.
The skull. I want to make a life-sized bust of Batman, of like his cowl and his maybe like his shoulder, a bust.
Yeah.
Batman. That way. Someday I want to do that. It's gosh, it's going to be so much cutting and shaping and everything. Yeah. Okay, what's yours?
I don't know. Like mine's I love Cinderella, so I want to make a slipper, but I want it to be fully out of resin.
Yeah. And
then another one is a dollhouse.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Nice.
And maybe a figurine of the Flash.
Yeah.
So we got, let's see, Cinderella, dollhouse, and the Flash.
Yeah.
She's such a weird woman. Like Cinderella and the Flash.
I think the dollhouse should be like priority one, because I think a lot of people would dig that.
Yeah.
I don't want to.
I want it to be a big one too. I don't want it to be no small one. I want it to be a big one.
That'd be good scroll saw practice for, wouldn't it, Jamie?
Oh yeah. Well, speaking of the scroll saw, who is the better scroll saw out of the two of you?
Sure ain't me.
Ryan was kind of like,
Right, you didn't think I was going to answer that, did you?
nah.
So are there any other questions before we continue or no?
Not at the moment.
Okay.
There's a few people really liking Amy's idea though.
Of which one?
The resin glass slipper. Bales would like some updates on the new shop space.
The new shop space, it's bigger for sure than our 10 by 10 shed. I can move around without knocking stuff off my workbench.
Or me getting in his way.
Right. It's good though. I haven't really done anything else to it. I just put in a propane heater and stuff last week, and had to have my dad come down and help me with it because I hooked it all up. And like, you know how a propane, it's like one of those wall space heaters that has like the flame that's only supposed to be like the flame rail that's only supposed to be about that tall. Well, it was like shooting flames up out of it, like a burning building. So I don't know if I had the wrong regulator on or what, but it was madness.
Well, let's talk about that a little bit. You know what? One show's not going to be enough, but because there's so many. But we're going to have to touch upon this. You guys recently moved. Does it feel recent, or does it feel like are you settled in, like comfortably? Like,
oddly enough, and it's probably cliche to say this, it does feel like home already. Like It feels like we've always lived here. But I'm just 100% happy to say, and I'm sure she is too, that we're no longer trailer trash. So
true.
That's always a plus.
So when you come in to your new place, and I want to focus on, there's more to focus on, but just the shop. When you came in, you had photos and you did some videos of the move, and then you did videos of, right? You did, or was it photos of your updates of you repairing that shop?
It was a little bit of both. I had planned when we were first started moving, I was going to do like a whole big documentary of fixing up the shop and this and that, but man, that just wouldn't have been feasible because I probably would have never wanted to make another video again.
You had a couple of issues that stuck in my mind with that shop. One was that you had to stabilize the rafters or the walls.
When we first looked at the house, we already knew that the garage was in pretty bad shape, and it's a detached garage, so it's off about 20, 30 feet from the house. But the rafters were like not hooked to anything. I don't even know how the roof was still standing other than under its own support from the trusses. But so we went in and hacked them. Well, we stabilized it across and then hacked out all the old ones. But we really, really reinforced it.
And so, the other bit was that the floor ended up at an area where a stove was or something, and then it went straight down.
Yeah, I don't know. The floor itself was a poured concrete floor, and it was all cracked. But I mean, that's pretty normal for our area because of the cold winters, and the garage didn't have a door on it, so water probably leaked in and caused the cracking. But the back of the garage, like, there was no floor; it was just dirt. I don't know if that's some old, thing from older times where they wouldn't pour the concrete there so that the stove could sit there. But it was just the weirdest thing when we dug it out. There was just like layers of newspaper, and I don't know what their intention was, but it sure made a mess for us.
Right. And so now you're comfortably in there. You have all your tools in there, and you're working out of there, yeah?
Yeah. And the only thing I've noticed since we've got it all in there and I have more space is how many more tools I want. Because now I have more space. So I've been looking at like Jackman's miter saw station design and all that stuff, trying to get ideas for different things I want to do out there, and trying to not spend all of our money on it.
That actually brings to a good segue from a question from the outside chat from Steve Twido. He goes, he's going to ask his usual double barrel question. He goes, what are your favourite tools and why? And if they were given $2,000 each to only spend on tools, what would you buy?
My favorite tool is the scroll saw because
Good man, good
right.
man.
It's one of the first tools I learned. It's one of the first tools I ever learned how to use, and one that I think I was able to become fairly proficient at. I mean, it's kind of hard to screw up on a table saw, but man, you can sure screw up on a scroll saw really easy and just ruin a whole project just by turning something the wrong way. What's your favorite tool?
I don't have one.
I bet hers wouldn't be. It's
Check out
amazing.
JP's.
Yeah. I can't imagine putting.
Show it again,
into that.
JP.
Show this again.
Yeah, I got you locked on. So there was a Halloween scroll off and router, and basically Makers International did the team router and team scroll saw, and JP entered both, and he won both. I was there live on Makers International when he won, and that's the piece that he did. Which is that a Charles Deering?
Yeah, it's a Charles Deering pattern. Yeah. Technically, I didn't win because I couldn't be eligible to win the podcast challenge because it's obviously on the podcast, and we put on the contest. But it basically me versus Richard, and I beat Richard. But I beat Richard in the router challenge as well.
Did he enjoy it? What you did?
Yeah, he thought it was funny.
Was he surprised that you had done that?
Yeah. So, yeah, I beat them both. So,
Rightfully so.
there's actually a video on that zombie as well.
Amy said she really likes your tiger that you did, that Charles Deering tiger.
Yeah, it's that took 30 hours to do that.
Oh, hold on. Amy's favorite tool. I know what Amy's favorite tool is, but it's not a tool. It's like it's a liquid, resin. She loves making stuff with resin.
Oh yeah.
Mm.
That's my thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So to continue that, so how did you guys? So your name? If you type or at least me, because I type it a lot, because we're buddies. I type in Waylight and it pops up Waylight Creations. What can you give us a little bit about the name and the design and all that? Where does that come from?
The name comes from 2 Bible verses we like. I mean, it's probably not a shock to some of you that we go to church and stuff, but it comes from 2 Bible verses combined to make our name. And then the design of the some of you probably know too, our design has changed quite a few times for our logo, and it's always been the flaming W. That's what we've always called it to ourselves, flaming W, but now it's just a W with a flame on it. No real reason behind that. I just kind of like the flame.
Very cool. It stands out very much. So what other projects, because the original question was what kind of different, and we touched on the comedy, Makers Wanted. What other things have you done, that you'd like to share?
Gosh, I don't, the comedy thing, the interviews, we did the interviews. I don't know did we mention that in the beginning?
We did.
I think we did like 20 interviews. Some great people in the community. We did the Ask a Maker series for a while.
What was that about?
It was just getting a few people together to talk about a particular topic related to making. I know we did one episode on freebooting.
Yeah.
I think you were part of that. Steve Carmichael was part of it. And I think Wilkie was in that one too.
Yes.
I'm not sure. And then we did one on should you put comedy in maker videos? And Jamie was in that one, and Pat Lapp. Who else was in that one? Alan, yeah, of course. Alan had to be in the comedy one for making.
Yeah.
And then our new show, The Maker Report, which is a new spin on something Matt Haas used to do called Woodworking Top Videos. But it's also got a little bit of our own flavor in it too, where we talk about community news. Because there's so much that goes on in the maker community. It's so hard to keep up with everything that's going on.
Yeah, there's a lot, and there's no place that says, hey, this is what's going, because a lot of people aren't, connected on Facebook all the time, or Twitter, or even on the YouTubes. So they end up, oh, I don't know what's happening. And in your show, you give them and you also shout out videos throughout the week of what's going on. So it's a complete news report on the maker community.
Right. And it sucks, and I'm not begging for subscribers or anything here, but it sucks that our subscriber base is so small, because I'd like to reach more people with that. I think it would be awesome if someone like a Bob Claggett or a Jimmy DiResta did a show like this, because oh my gosh, could you imagine the reach and everybody would know about it.
Well, you guys are up to how many subscribers now?
Well, we're edging close to 7,000, which, I mean, it's a lot to us, but it's not a lot in the grand scheme of things. But
right,
any little bit we can help, because you remember starting out as a smaller channel. I mean, we're still small channels in the big picture, but starting out when you only have 100, 200, or 1,000 subscribers, it's hard to move up.
Yeah.
And I remember people helping me and Amy's channel move up, and I'm sure you guys could say the same. You had people that shared your stuff, or you had some help along the way a little bit, and we just want to be able to pay it back a little bit in the same way, as little bit as we can. But hey, every little bit helps.
Well, you always have done that, and I like people that do that no matter where their station in life is, as opposed to viewing people. But I'm going into a whole thing, but screw it, because it's the Mad Maker Show. I like I like that to offer assistance, or a leg up, or a little push, gusto. It's such a great thing to do, and it really benefits everybody involved. It's the spirit. I've always felt that it's the spirit of the thing and the spirit of people that is what's important. And I feel that way about the maker community as well. It's the spirit of the thing, and you've always reflected that, in my opinion. So many people. Jamie Page reflects that. Heck, Dan the Maker reflects that. Just so many people out there. Temple Boy Turnings, all these good people. I guess it's a pretty darn good community when you come to think about it. Yeah,
and it's funny when you talk to other people that maybe aren't in the maker community, and you just start talking about it like it's an everyday, like it's common knowledge for everyone. Like this is the greatest community, and they're like, what are you talking about? No one knows. I mean, if you really look at this secret group that we're a part of on Facebook, there's not a lot of people in it, really.
Or active. There's a lot of, there's a relative amount, but out of that, there's a certain amount that are always posting and engaging, and then others that are onlookers. It's just life. But yeah, it's a small community there.
So, I mean, it's ingrained in us now, because we've been a part of it now for a couple years. That and I've said it probably a dozen times in different videos we've been in or been a part of, that it is the greatest community on the internet anywhere. I mean, every community is going to have its bad apples, but seems like we're pretty good about weeding those out.
Name a few. Name a list. No. So yeah,
you can find the full list at waylightcreations.com.
Click that subscribe button and it'll come up.
The thing is that the human experience is what we're experiencing now, and there's so many different personalities, and it's just, life is such a thing, such a mystery, to me at least. I don't know if anybody else has it figured out, but I'm always in awe of the things in life, interactions and whatnot. I'm not going anywhere with that. I'm just stating it as a general thing. Stop me if you want. I'll do a Charles Deering. Forget me. Stop me if you want.
Is that it? Because we've got another.
Yeah, go ahead.
We've got another question from the outside chat from the one and only legend Ragtie. He says, "Who was the first channels you were interested in?"
All right, I didn't catch who asked the question.
Ragtime.
Ragtime.
Oh, Ragtime. Okay.
What's up, Ragtime?
The first channel I was like, I dove into and watched everything was Jay Bates. Because of wanting to build the like traditional woodworking stuff. And gosh, after that I got into Jimmy DiResta a little bit. Got into Steve Ramsey just a little bit, but I've kind of faded off of them a little bit. And now I like the smaller kind of niche channels that like Heath Knuckles. Some of the stuff he does. Like it's different, you know. You don't see it every day.
Heath Knuckles gets mentioned a lot as far as inspiration and
Yeah,
you know,
it's amazing. Who was your first maker?
There's a Heath Knuckles.
Mona, it would have to be Craft Clatch.
Yeah, there's a channel called Craft Clatch.
There's a Heath Knuckles blend.
That's
Yeah,
pretty
isn't that
neat.
neat?
I like that. It's pretty.
There's a channel called Craft Clatch. It's a craft channel, really. They do a lot of resin work, and I know Amy watched that religiously she still does.
That's where I learned about, that's how I wanted to do resin and stuff, and
Yeah.
it was because of her. Because she makes like every Friday, it's a new coaster every Friday. So I tried
Nice.
making coasters. And one of my friends just moved away, so I made her, because she likes Dallas Cowboys, so I made her a Dallas Cowboys coaster. I wish I would have. Right.
Are you filming them, Amy?
No, this one was just because she was moving away. I didn't.
Because of the wonderful things she does.
Yeah.
Sorry, I apologize for that.
I can't really say nothing about Dallas Cowboys because I have no idea what you're talking about.
They're somewhere in Texas.
Yeah,
It's a team.
Oh, I know.
guys that dress up in tights somewhere in Texas.
Oh, right, with the backside cut out of their pants.
Yes, yeah, you got it.
Oh, I got you.
Sure, kind of.
You can show it. She has a picture of what she made.
Yeah, it's still in the.
Oh, no.
Can you see it?
Oh,
Awesome.
yeah. That's nice.
Thanks.
Now, are there any other questions before we continue?
What's this? Patrick's Workshop says, I bet you like to watch the Patrick's Workshop channel. Jim
I don't know what
Bashir.
you want there. I don't know what answer you want there.
Not really many questions. The chat is quite a way behind. That's basically YouTube playing about at the moment, but there's quite a few makers out there. So yeah, you do a good show today at the moment.
Awesome. I do want to mention that Patrick's Workshop just came out with a new video, and congratulations to. Actually, every time he comes out with a video, he does a lot of shop projects, mostly shop projects, and his latest one, I'd be wrong to tell you where it's at, but it's like 30-some thousand views in like the first 2 days or something. It's just an incredible amount. So it's a great video to check out. His editing skills are bad to the bone, and I think he's got a secret project coming up that's massive. I think he might have. See, I don't want to say too much because I don't know where to draw the line. He's very secretive of his next builds, but very inspirational stuff. So that's Patrick's.
He's a bit of a perfectionist. He's Patrick.
Yeah. I like to throw caution to the wind myself and frickin' run up against the wall and bang my head till I break through, or it kicks my butt personally, and maybe that's wrong. That's the wrong way to do it, but that's how I am. Right.
Yeah. There's another question from Ragtie. He says, where do you see yourself in 10 years?
Oh,
hello.
gosh, I don't know really.
Where was that scream? Where did that scream?
That's my oldest son playing a freaking video game.
Mhm.
Well, it's always gonna be here for the future. That scream will.
I don't know. Sometimes I don't know what he's doing in there, man. He's like screaming and hooting and hollering about things. I don't get it.
I thought it was Eloy's neighbor.
All right. Yeah, I can send him down there if you want him to live by you.
Well, that's I don't know if the chat knows, but for the past 5, I'm exaggerating, like 3, which is enough hours. I have a window behind me that you can't see. Right there, my neighbors have been just gabbing and going on, and it just penetrates the window right through the glass nonstop, and it always happens. In the past, every time Ryan and I did a show live with Matt or with Rick Wilkie, they would always do that. Once we stopped our shows, they stopped doing that. And tonight we had our show, and they come back out. I think they might be.
It's me, man.
No, I think they might be watching, and they're just saying, "Okay, now," and that
Yeah.
Right. They just want to hear themselves.
Yeah. They're trying to be on the show.
Yeah.
What was the question? Oh, where will we see our
Where do you see yourselves in 10 years?
10 years? Chances are I'll probably be running my dad's company by then because I'm sure he'll be retiring somewhere around there. And I hope to be selling some of the stuff we make. I mean, we do occasionally, but I would like to get into it so deep because that's one of my plans, but you know how plans go. It's one of my plans for retirement eventually for us. We just want to be able to make that stuff and enjoy it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. She'll still be working in a factory in 10 years probably.
Yeah. 30 more years to go.
So now one of the first videos I saw from you guys was the Viking chair.
What do you want to know about it?
Anything you'd like to share? I'm just throwing it out there, dude.
I mean, we got so much crap for that video, like especially on the Instructable that we made for it.
Why?
Because it's not called a Viking chair, apparently.
Dude, when people are so anal.
When we researched it and stuff, I knew it wasn't called a Viking chair, but this is the internet, and you have to make things searchable. So if anybody that's searching it is going to search Viking chair, right?
Dude, you know what? I hate sticking to traditional. I love traditional stuff, right, but don't force me to do it. Okay, right. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
It's called a Stargazer chair, I guess.
Okay.
Boy Scouts used to make them or something. I don't know. We just want to make a freaking chair to sit in. I don't care what it's called. I just wanted to make it. But yeah, it was fun to make. I think we made it different than anyone else ever has, but I'm not sure. By gluing up 2x6s and cutting everything out of that, and then we beat the crap out of it with a log chain. Mm-hmm. I carved a king's crown in one and a queen's crown in the other. Caught
them on fire.
Torched them. Went Escajeda Woodworking and torched them.
Yeah.
Awesome. And you also did a mirror, and I love this. You did a mirror. Wait, you know what? This is all going to be a Q&A on my website. Short format, but still. So let me ask it in a proper way so I don't sound like an idiot. Tell us about the mirror that's cracked that has a Batman boomerang.
That is one of my favorite projects we ever made.
Yeah.
And it's I wanted it to look like it started out as another kind of idea, but it ended up becoming this. But I wanted it to be like the Joker was looking in the mirror and Batman had threw a batarang at him. So the idea was to have like where the Joker had written something on it in like lipstick or something. I don't know, because the Joker's whacked out. But the idea was to have it look like the batarang cracked the mirror and stuck in it. So
nice.
I mean, you can watch the video to see how we did it, but basically it's just a cracked mirror. Like we literally busted it, and it took her like 10 tries to bust this mirror.
Right,
with a ball-peen hammer.
Wow.
Like it would not break.
And I was hitting it, I mean, like full force, and it just would not break.
But anyway, we did that, shattered it, and then cut out a little place where the battering goes. And I made the battering out of wood. And then we epoxied it to the back of where the mirror would have been, and then poured resin over it. And it just looks like a cracked mirror now. It doesn't. You can't even tell there's resin on it.
Amazing, dude. I love that freaking project.
Yeah, my favorite.
That's classy of me. I love that freaking project.
Super pinkies up.
You also, I'll tell you one thing also. Like you did, I think it was an Iron Man, stenciled out. Is that right or no?
And when he drew you two as Chowder Man?
No.
No.
Am I? Because okay, so this is just my bad. So don't worry. But I went to your website one time, and I don't know if it was Dan the Maker Man's Iron Man. You had an Iron Man or some superhero. I can't quite remember right now off the top of my head.
I did a drawing of Iron Man. I did like a drawing.
Oh, it was a drawing, because when you go to your website, waylightcreations.com, I went in about a week ago, 2 weeks ago maybe, and as I'm scrolling down on waylightcreations.com, I see Iron Man, and I said, "Oh, look, it's Dan the Maker Man's." You know how he cuts out and it took me a while to. So it's an actual drawing. Okay.
Yeah, I dabbled in the speed drawing videos for just a couple weeks just to see how they would do. I was just testing the waters on our channel. Not very well received on our channel because it's more maker related. But yeah, I think I did that. I did a DC villains kind of montage drawing, and then I did I made Chowder Man.
Yeah, Amy was saying that. So what's up with that, man? I know what the story, but you turned what?
No.
Chowder Man is the alter ego of Eloy Escovedo, and it's based off of his superpower of eating endless bowls of clam chowder.
Yeah, from his live streams.
Yeah, I do live streams. You can follow me also on Escovedo Woodworking on Facebook. And I do live streams, and for some reason I always end up at the supermarket looking for clam chowder. We have Publix down here as far as one of our supermarkets, and they do the soups and they rotate them, and this clam chowder is to die for. So it's ridiculous, I know. I'll just tell you, but for some reason people started calling me. I think it was Michael Loing that started. He also said, "Oh, look, it's Chowder Man, Chowder Man." So all of a sudden, it's like, because I do live feeds, I end up eating the clam chowder. That's how silly things get, and it's an affectionate thing. But yeah, he drew me in that fashion. That was hilarious, dude.
I was trying to think of the first video I came across, and I can't remember. I think it was either a square photo frame box, or it's either that or a lighthouse.
Yeah, the square photo frame was just like a folding. It's just 5 square photo frames that fold down into each other, and it just makes like a box that just sits there. That was kind of a lame project in my opinion, but
it was either that or it was a lighthouse. I think it was
a lighthouse.
Was it a blue and white lighthouse?
Yeah, it's actually sitting right over here on one of our tables. Yeah, that was I just wanted to make a lighthouse lamp. I thought it'd be cool to do it. It was kind of a challenge to myself to figure out all the angles to make that octagon, hexagon. I don't know how many sides it has. But like you have to figure out the angles of that to piece them together. Like when everybody makes segmented bowls and stuff, you gotta, figure out the angles. But the hardest part was figuring out how to make the angle and taper it, so it would taper up.
Oh,
so
wow! Yeah,
I had to make up a jig so I could taper an angle on something that was already ready to be segmented. So it was weird. I honest to God, I have no idea how I did it. I don't remember. I'd have to even go back into the video and look at it.
Yeah, that's it.
Yep.
Yeah, but yeah, it's just
cool.
It's a lamp, plugs in, looks kind of like a lighthouse.
Kind of.
I think it's freaking awesome, dude.
It was fun. It was neat to learn something new doing it.
You also there two other things. So we talked a while back, and you mentioned that you had your your most successful build was some sort of cabinet. What was that?
My craft cabinet.
It was a craft storage cabinet that I made Amy that we kind of just like built on a whim one weekend, and I freaking hate it. I hate the video. I hate the project, and it's our most successful video. It drives me freaking batty, man.
Right, it was just something for me to cram all my crap into.
Because it's like all pocket hole joinery, and the door warped on it a little bit, and it's just awful. But it's got like almost 300,000 views. I don't even get it.
Wow, dude.
Yeah, and it gets like the biggest mix of comments on our channel. Like people are like, "Oh, that's great," you know. This saved me a ton of time. Now I can build this cabinet. And other people are like, "Pocket holes suck."
Hey, man, you know what? It's good to have a Craig jig, you know.
Yeah.
And when you want to do that, or if you want to take more time, it depends on what you want to do. I'm totally open to whatever, dude. You could tie it with freaking rubber bands for all I care. You know, I'm all about doing it. You know.
Yeah.
You also, when you moved in to your new place, you guys, I think one of the first videos was you guys were making a dining room table.
Yes.
Love my table.
It's made out of MDF of all things and particle board. Particle board's for the top. I mean, that's pretty common to make countertops out of particle board. But it was just designed to kind of look like an island that you would have in a kitchen.
Yeah.
But it's movable. And the goal the entire time was to keep it under $100 because freaking tables are expensive.
Yeah.
Like, super expensive. And if I would have made it out of hardwood and stuff, it would have been like crazy expensive with the size of it. So it was kind of a challenge to see how cheap I could build it and it still be structurally sound. And it is. And I don't know. It's cool. I experimented with trying to make a series of videos for it. And that didn't work, man. I'll never do that again. That's time intensive.
Yeah.
It's nice though because he made it big enough for all 5 of us to be able to fit at the table. And you know how awkward it is for like 5 people to sit at a table.
Right.
Yeah, it sounds like an event.
Right. And I love sharing comments that I get on videos, and I just actually got a comment on one of those videos, because it's broken up into segments like of different things I'm doing on the table itself. Well, one of the videos is almost dedicated to just laminating the top with it's Formica's a brand name, but you get what I'm saying.
Yeah.
And then some dude commented on it the other day and said, are you gonna put the laminate on that, or are you just gonna talk? Do you do YouTube videos to listen to yourself talk and look at yourself on camera?
Get out of town.
I love comments like that. I'll usually like them and comment back something snarky, but I love it.
Well, it's impossible. You're never gonna please everybody, dude.
Yeah, I know some people delete troll comments and stuff. I love them. I just leave them there.
So, is there any questions in the chat, JP, or anything you'd like to ask?
To be honest, the chat has gotten so far behind now.
Okay.
That it's ridiculous. To be honest.
Well, there was something in the internet occurring yesterday or the day before, and I had problems getting up on Facebook, and it was weird, man. But I heard later, I think Steve Nealon from Harneal Media, we were in a chat, and he said that the whole East Coast of Comcast or something, their servers or some, I don't know. Did you guys hear anything about that?
Matt had mentioned something about it last night that it was Comcast was having problems.
Okay. So it was Matt.
Oh, I don't know. It might have been 2 separate conversations, but yeah, Matt said something about it.
Yeah. So I couldn't get on it. So maybe it's still hokey. Who knows?
Yeah.
Well, with that said, so what projects are you pondering now? at the moment that you'd like to, delve in?
What?
Hmm.
I know. I'm
with resin.
right. There's right.
Well, I know Amy wants.
So,
I know Amy wants to do what she had mentioned, the slipper, and these are future projects, yes, and the dollhouse, but big.
yeah.
Yeah, those are future ones that you want to tackle, yes.
Yes.
And Ryan, did I ask you that question, future? Because now thinking back, maybe I did ask
I
you
think
that.
you asked us what like our dream projects were, maybe.
Oh, because that was that JP or Twidell that asked that?
I can't remember who asked that.
Okay, so we can skip that because that's been asked. So let me ask you this: we started, you, Matt Haas, and I. By the way, that's the proper way of mentioning. It's never me, you.
It's
and
always
Matt
me
Haas.
first. It's always me first, man. We live in America.
Javi's actually got a question for Ryan.
Okay.
He wants to know: are you pro or con floating head Eloy?
I have always been pro floating head Eloy because that's all I've ever known.
I can't help it.
There you go, Javi.
So we started. I don't know. It was Matt's idea, and then he brought it to you, and then you said, "Hey, let's bring in Eloy." Was it like that?
Are you talking about Made by Nation?
Made by Nation, yeah.
Yeah. He had been talking to me for a week or two about it, or maybe it was just a few days, about doing a show, like a show that's called Dig Nation. It's an older internet show where people just get on and like kind of talk about other videos. That was the idea behind it. I was like, man, Eloy would be great for that. And
Well, I always felt that you guys brought me in because like as the loose cannon, right? As like
no, not really. It was we were talking about it, and I think he had mentioned something about a third host, and I was like, dude, Eloy would be great about that. He's all about talking about other things and his opinion on things. So,
and it after that, and that was done with because we all got busy and it slowed down and we stopped. After that, it got stepped up, ramped up quite a bit when we started what you call Scratched.
oh my gosh, Scratched was a blessing and a freaking nightmare at the same time, though. Like the content was awesome. Like I know everybody that listened to it really liked it, but man, it was a headache, wasn't it? Like,
well, the problem is that what we were doing was we were recording nonstop audio, and then having to edit it across 3 different states across the country. And actually, it was filtered out towards Rick Wilkie in Colorado, and then he would edit it, and it was just a whole thing. But I will say this for the folks listening to this: what we started, Ryan Bitters and Wilkie, we were sitting in a chat, and they said, "Hey, man, how do you feel about starting a podcast about nothing?" How was that? How did that go?
I think we were talking and we were having a good time, and I think you were like keeled over on the floor laughing about something. And I said, man, this would be a good podcast, like where we just get on and talk about nothing, like just absolutely nothing. And
JP is. I'm sorry for. I thought JP was going to say something about the chat. No.
Yeah. So Dan the Maker Man just said, "Is there any chance of Scratch coming back?"
there's 0 chance of Scratch coming back with Wilkie as a part of it. I know that.
I feel that the dynamics. Here's the thing, the concept of Scratch, it's like everything else. When you have more than one person is hard enough to get something going, but when you start adding more, like, points of views to a thing, it becomes more complicated. And Rick Wilkie was getting busy. I think his daughter was getting married at the time. I think you guys were getting ready to move. I was having my issues here, and so it's hard to keep a thing going. And imagine, and on in three different states across the country, I would say that Scratched needs to have Rick Wilkie in it. That dynamic. Not well. It could be that it could be a different thing, but the dynamic of it, where we talked about crazy stuff.
Yeah. Well,
What do you think?
I couldn't see Scratch going on without Rick myself because of the dynamic you mentioned. I know there was talk at one time of bringing Doc on to replace Rick. I mean, it's something Rick had mentioned to me.
That's a good idea.
But and it would have been good. I'm not saying it wouldn't have been good, but it wouldn't have been Scratched. It wouldn't have been the same thing, you know.
Right.
The dynamic worked good with your random off the wall stuff and Rick getting aggravated because you bounce off the walls, and it was just perfect.
Right, and I was oblivious to Rick getting any sort of upset at all.
I don't think it was a genuine, you know, anger or anything. It was just you were part of it, and
well, I would go off the rails because look, I'm very controlled in this show right now, but I could go off, and I feel quite comfortable going into like the most strangest thing because frankly, bottom line for me, that's why I call this the Mad Maker Show. Bottom line for me, it's like, what the heck? What the heck's going on anyways? Who made the rules?
Doc is over in the chat. He says he's in.
Oh, bingo bango. Well,
what did he say?
He says he's in. He said you could call it itched.
Well, Doc is a loose cannon too. He's got a lot. You know something about Doc Jared Hildebrandt? Just observing him and he's got a lot of knowledge on cultural and historic, just a lot of stuff that he brings up on the fly. I enjoy that. He's got a shirt with a new logo. I think JP and Javi. Did you guys design it? What was that?
How it actually came about is Sarah Connor from Wartooth Designs. As you know, she draws potatoes for fun and things like that. And she drew a potato dock. Well, I took up my interpretation of it and made a wooden potato dock. And Javi kind of cleaned it all up in Photoshop and turned my rendition of the dock into Photoshop and turned it into a vector picture. And that now became Doc's sticker. And
shirt.
And shirt, yeah.
I just bought a shirt.
I've actually got Doc's sticker here, if you bear with us for 2 seconds. There we go.
Yeah, very cool. So yeah, he's got those on his shirts.
Yeah.
So, any questions before we go back to this and we're rounding home, kind of, sort of?
Yeah. We've got one more from Javi's Woodshop. He says, Ryan and Amy, will you be attending any meetups or shows this or next year, like the Atlanta show?
We were actually almost going to go to the Atlanta show last year, and my gosh, I wish we would have.
Yeah.
Because it looked like it was a really good one. But
it was always
possibly this year, or this next year, we will make it down if everything comes together right. But yeah, there's a lot of people I'd like to meet and just hang out with for the weekend. I think it'd be a blast.
Well, awesome.
You coming over again, Jamie?
I'm hoping to at some point, yeah.
Yeah.
Obviously, everyone's coming over to the UK for Maker Central next year, but possibly the year after.
Yeah. Yeah, I'd like to make it a regular thing where we could attend. Seems like Atlanta's the biggest one that everybody goes to.
It seems like it, yeah.
When Jamie Page came over, and I like
the proverbial poop hit the fan.
Yeah, I like to refresh. Like I'll repeat things. I like to refresh, so just to keep it in memory and front and center. But when he came over, and I'm not even, maybe I'm exaggerating, but not that much. But as he traveled with Mark Saunders, because they took a car and drove down the East Coast all the way to the Keys, they left ruin, wreckage, and destruction through their path. Every place they left had bridges collapse. I think fires started. Just disaster upon disaster upon disaster. And they stopped at my house as well. I was exhausted after they stayed one night. Took them to the Everglades. They ate Cuban food. I don't know what else. Stickers all over. I've got Carl Jacobson stickers all over and they're staying there until they fall off with the paint. Frankly,
that's what them Carl Jacobson stickers is what holds either whole house together.
You should go patch your roof with one of those.
Oh, don't remind me. I got a lot of work to do, dude. It's non-stop, never ending, taking care of 2 houses, you know.
Cacao
up the yin yang. You know. So anyways, any final thoughts that you'd like to share with us, places that you can be found, and or shout outs of people that you'd like to mention, just general goodbyes?
I mean, as far as finding us, everything, the easiest way to find us is going to be waylightcreations.com because everything just branches off from there. Shout outs, gosh, I wish you'd let me know about this ahead of time. I would have thought of somebody.
I give no pre-planned. This is
well, I think I'd like to shout out Richard Morley.
Whoa.
Yeah, he's a good scroll sawer.
I don't really want to shout anybody out because it would probably be someone that people already know, I guess. So I think I'm going to pass. I'm not going to shout anybody out. Screw you.
All right. Yeah. Now, Amy?
Yeah.
Any final thoughts? Just, you know, in general, anything you'd like to share of what you guys have done? Just anything. You're free to it.
I know she won't think of things to say, but I know what she's been talking about. She's excited about Makers Wanted coming back too.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
We've been talking about the last couple days, and
are you gonna build another quick radio? What was it? Bluetooth? Are you just gonna?
Oh yeah.
Right, and make my 1,000-degree knife and cut through some butter.
Well, it was funny because it's like here you go.
Right. I don't know if he's put it out yet, but I got a video of me making something coming out soon. And it's made out of wood. So
awesome.
Yeah, it's stunning.
Can you give us a clue?
Yeah, it's a cutting board.
Well, awesome.
Good, pretty like exceptionally good though. It was her first like full-blown woodworking project. So I think
nice.
the only thing I did for her was the bandsaw.
And you routed it.
Oh, and the router. Just because I don't know. I think we were pinched for time. Really, is why I did it.
Do you guys have a thickness planer?
I have one on loan right now from my dad.
Right, I like using that thing.
Yeah, it's a must. I don't have one. It's a must.
Every time I use it, I always have a hoodie on, and now I have wood stuck in my hoodie, and I can't get it out. And you know, in the pocket.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, you can never get the wood chips back out of them pockets.
Do you ever wear a hoodie, Jamie, when you're turning stuff and like it all gets in your pockets?
Yeah. No, I have one hoodie now, and it just stays out in my shop now.
It's terrible.
Yeah, it's the same one.
Yeah.
I've got to get myself a smock, really. So,
All right. Well, I'm going to mention stuff at the end here, but I'll pass it on to Jamie Page.
yeah. Well, like I said at the start of the show, you can find all my stuff by finding that link there or that link there, but it's all sponsored by that link there at Harnell Media, which you can find all of them two pictures there.
So I want to thank everybody for hanging out with us. I appreciate it very much, and it's a great thing to meet up and do this and explore, you know, people's lives. I feel like there's more that we have to touch, but we can't necessarily fill it within an hour's time or whatnot. So I'll just ask, you know, Ryan and Amy, did you enjoy this, and would you like to come back?
Yeah,
Yeah, I liked it. It was fun.
I'm always available to come back. You know that.
Right,
Awesome.
This is my first one.
Yeah, I'm so happy that I got to
an
interview.
virgin anymore.
So next week, folks, we're gonna have Javier Unzueta from Javi's Wood Shop here on the show, and Javi lives about probably 8 miles away from me. Now, you would say that it's 8 miles is nothing, but where I live here in the ghetto, in the dark recesses of Miami, to the posh evergreen section where Javi lives, you would say it's night and day. Heck, they won't even let me cross the road over there into that region because we're here stuck in the trenches.
He probably needs a passport to visit Abby.
I'm exaggerating, but I like to do that for dramatic effect. We're going to have Javi, and we're going to ask him a bunch of questions and get to know Javi. So check that out. And who do we have in the chat? Who did we have? Could we shout out some folks?
Who did we have? We have over in the chat at this precise moment in time, I can see we have Javi's Woodshops, we have Ragtide, Crosscut Creations, Dan the Maker Man, Jim Bashir's, Liberty Woodworking, Man Crafting, Mark Lindsay, Doc Hildebrand is over there, Bales, let's get it, Sarah Letici, Turner Williams.
I have to say I'm a little bit disappointed. I was really expecting to get trolled by Bales pretty good tonight, and I'm just thoroughly disappointed in you.
What was his last comment? Let's see if I can find it. I scrolled past it. What did he write? I can't even find it now. Oh, there it is. Oh, no, that's not it. It just says, or is he? No, well, Steve Leland's over there, Temple Boy Turner's over there, Muddy Fences was over there.
Muddy.
Yeah, he had a good turnout tonight. Tom Spillane was over there. Yeah. I guess when you was talking about the Batman glass project, it's probably his own voice bouncing off the glass. So I guess that's part of the trolling.
That's not good enough. When you do have Bales on, I'm gonna have to double my trolling up when he's on. I'll come over and get it to him.
Have a word with Pat Lap so he can have a word with Pet Lover.
Well, all right. So we'll catch you guys next time. Have a great week and make cool stuff and rock and roll. All the full blast, because we don't know when this ride's gonna end. Catch you next time, guys.
Smell my